It was supposed to be just another shift. Brian Keller, a 38-year-old single father with tired eyes and a heart twice as big, pulled on his worn jacket and locked the door of his small, two-bedroom house in Kansas City. Life hadn't been easy since his wife passed away 3 years ago. He had lost not only his partner but his anchor. Every morning, he packed peanut butter sandwiches for his 8-year-old son, Tyler, who still waited for his mom at the window sometimes. Every evening, Brian worked as a janitor at the local hospital, mopping floors while fighting the ache in his back and the weight in his heart. On a particularly rainy Thursday, Brian stopped by a gas station before work to grab a coffee and catch his breath. As he stepped out, he noticed a small crowd gathered near an old van parked at the far end of the lot. Curiosity nudged him, and he wandered over. A tired-looking man with a grease-stained jacket stood beside a hand-painted cardboard sign that read, "Twins for sale. $70. Brian froze. At first, he thought it was some sort of twisted joke. But then he saw them, two little girls, maybe 4 or 5, sitting on a tattered blanket in the rain, clinging to each other. Blonde hair matted with water, eyes wide with fear. They weren't crying. They looked too tired to cry. The man, probably their father, mumbled something about not being able to feed them anymore, about a mother who left, about no other options. People murmured disapprovingly but walked away. Brian didn't move. "Is this real?" he asked, his voice breaking. "I just want them to be okay," the man said. $50 and they're yours." Brian had exactly $64 to his name. Rent was due in a week. Tyler's sneakers had holes in them. But something deeper, something primal and holy, surged inside him. He pulled out his wallet. "I'll take them," he said. The man didn't argue. He took the money, handed over a crumpled birth certificate and 2 small backpacks, then drove off without looking back. Brian stood in the rain, stunned, staring at the girls. They stared back. "I'm Brian," he said, crouching down to their level. "You're safe now." He took them home. The first few days were chaos. Tyler was confused and upset. He didn't understand why these strange girls were sleeping in his bed or why they didn't talk much. The twins, Lily and June, barely spoke at all. They flinched at loud sounds, hoarded food under their pillows, and cried in their sleep. Brian took days off work he couldn't afford. He made pancakes with smiley faces, played Disney songs until his ears hurt, and sat with them during their nightmares. He enrolled them in kindergarten and met with counselors who specialized in trauma. Slowly, they began to trust. One day, June reached out and held Brian's hand. Lily started drawing pictures of a house with 3 kids and a big man with a crooked smile. Tyler, too, came around. He started reading bedtime stories to the twins, teaching them to ride bikes with training wheels. One night, when he thought no one was listening, Brian heard Tyler whisper, "It's okay. My mom is an angel. Maybe she sent you to us." But it wasn't easy. The state found out. A social worker knocked on the door one Tuesday afternoon with a court order. Brian had no legal custody. The girls were wards of the state. He had no adoption papers, no clearance. He had bought them, technically, illegally. "I just wanted to help," he said, tears threatening to fall. "You could go to jail," the woman said. But there was a softness in her eyes. The case became local news. A single dad taking in abandoned twins for $50. It sparked outrage, but also compassion. People started showing up. A neighbor offered free legal help. A retired schoolteacher volunteered to tutor the girls. Donations poured in, food, clothes, toys, money. The hospital gave Brian paid leave. Tyler's school raised funds with a bake sale. In court, Brian stood with trembling hands as the judge read his file. "Mr. Keller, what you did was highly irregular. Reckless, even. But sometimes, he said, looking over his glasses, love doesn't wait for paperwork. He granted temporary custody. The adoption process began. Weeks turned into months. Lily started calling Brian Daddy. June, ever quiet, painted a picture of their family with hearts all around. Tyler wrote an essay for school titled "The Day My Dad Became a Hero." The final adoption hearing came on a snowy morning. The courtroom was full, neighbors, teachers, friends, all holding their breath. The judge smiled. "Congratulations, Mr. Keller. Lily and June are now officially your daughters." Brian wept. That night, they celebrated with a dinner of spaghetti and chocolate cake. Tyler, now proudly the older brother, made a toast with orange juice. "To family," he said. And it wasn't about blood, or birth certificates, or money. It was about showing up. About choosing love over logic. About a tired janitor who gave everything he had, not just $50, but his entire heart, to give two little girls a future. Sometimes, the smallest acts ripple into something vast. Sometimes, a broken heart is exactly the one needed to heal others. And sometimes, the people you save, end up saving you. Because in a world full of storms, Brian Keller chose to be shelter. And that made all the difference.